Welcome everybody. Today I'd like to share with you my personal journey into my spiritual beliefs and my dedication as a Priest of Avalon and what that means to me right now. Many years ago now, I was introduced to the Arthurian legend when I was about 7 or 8 years old. From then on, I was so drawn into this myth, this legend of knights, of Excalibur, of a different golden age, like they say. And then from there on, my belief in Celtic lore and my interest in British mythologies just started to grow and grow and grow. And now, as an adult, when I look back through all the films I used to watch, this word just follows me throughout my childhood and teenage life. Avalon, Avalon, Avalon. And obviously back then I knew that Avalon was the resting home of King Arthur, but that's all. From there, my interest in spirituality was still developing. The internet wasn't really around, so I could only read certain books, and even those weren't as accessible as these days. The Harry Potter wasn't around, The Worst Witch was out, but all that there was just nature. And at a very early age, I always learned that actually to be a part of this world that we call spirituality is not about reading books, it's about being outside, it's about being in the fresh air, being in these beautiful places behind me. And I went out as much as I could, and I really just connected to the land, to the sky, to the sea, to the river. Then as I grew older, I found a wonderful lady, local to me, called Sally, who at the Rainbow Bridge taught me all the holistic skills that I needed to know at that time, at around 16, 17, looking into spiritual healing, crystal healing, holistic studies, and that really opened the doorways to my spirituality and where my interests really started to grow. Then from there I did a 6-week Wicca course, which really opened up my insight to paganism, to Wicca, to Druidry, and to everything else that is around. Many years ago, my parents and I went down south for a holiday, and coming back up, we went to Stonehenge, and it must have been only about 10 or 11. Very sweet at that age. And we visited Stonehenge. I can remember it was an absolutely ghastly day. The rain was pouring, and you couldn't really see the stones. But the interesting thing is I came out of Stonehenge, I went into the visitor's shop, and I brought this book on the Druids. And as naive as I was back then, I thought, wow, I must be the only Druid still alive that really believes in all of this wonderful custom, this ancient lore, connection to the land and the ancestors. And then, thankfully, due to technology, the internet started to bloom, and we could really start to look into what spirituality means and actually connect up to others. So it must be about 10 years now for my first outing, if you like, into the pagan community. Stepping out onto the scene. For me, it's one thing to learn at home and to connect with nature and to do as much self-studying and dedication as you want, but to truly be involved in paganism, you have to be connected to people, spiritually like-minded people. So I did. I stepped out and found all these wonderful people that I knew at picnics, at events, and at different spiritual gatherings. And then finally, when I was reaching a climatic point in my life, around 18, 19, I decided to go on a pilgrimage. So for the first time, I went to Stonehenge on the summer solstice. That's a very interesting experience if you've never been. I went down to Avesbury Stone Circle and stayed overnight at the most spectacular vegetarian bed and breakfast, 4-poster bed. Oh, inside the stone circle, divine. And then on from there, I got the bus down to Glastonbury, and I can always remember stepping off the bus at the top of the road, walking down Glastonbury High Street like I was on Diagon Alley. And from that moment, my heart instantly connected to that land. It just echoed of ancient times, ancient memories. And from there I went and I stayed a few days in Glastonbury. I looked at the Goddess Temple, I went to the White Springs, I went to Chalice Well and the Abbey, and found all these lovely, lovely people that just wanted to speak to you and say, hello, how are you? You don't really get that much in Nottingham, only on a good day. And it was really about the community coming together. And from there I found these leaflets about being a priestess of Avalon, and instantly my heart knew that this was the right path. It's one thing to know where your spirituality lies, but then to truly be on that path of dedication is just intense, immense. It's an out-of-body experience, really, the best way to put it. You just go, you know, the land is calling and Goddess is calling, and it really was my calling to do this course. At the time I thought, oh, it's a little bit pricey. But then over time you break these prices down and you think, actually I can make this work, and ultimately if Goddess wants you to do anything in life, you're going to do it. And then I booked home. 6 months later at Samhain, my journey into the mysteries of Avalon, the Lady of Avalon, Goddess, all these roots that have come back from my past are now linking in and joining in. I can understand where my Celtic beliefs come from. I can understand how my therapies and healing work combine with Goddess. And it was a 3-year course that really transformed and changed my life. I really have to thank Kathy Jones, the one that created the course, founded a whole new lineage of priestesses in modern times. For our work now is about spreading this light, spreading the joy of Goddess. So my path as a priest of Avalon right now, what does that mean to me? It's about bringing back this ancient knowledge of the land, this ancient knowledge of the people that loved Goddess long, long ago. It's about bringing back her healing, her care. So many times we look outside and we see people that are in desperate need of help, but they don't know where to turn to or who to turn to, because all the churches these days are shut. So just being out there and sharing this light and talking to people about how Goddess can help. How can she help? She is there to listen. Even when we're in our darkest needs, all we have to do is talk to Goddess. And I'm not one for praying behind the bed, you know, standing there, kneeling on the bedside, praying to anybody. These days, prayer is about conversation. It's a two-way activity between you and spirit, deity, God, Goddess, whoever it may be. But they're there to listen, and if you listen and sit quietly, then their voices will be heard. You will be able to hear them. So for me right now, in this beautiful surrounding by my wonderful statues, I really want you to open up your heart to whatever your spirituality, your faith is, whatever your belief or calling is. Because I can't explain how magical it feels to know when you're on the right path. You know, for some, 3 years worth of training is not what they need. But for others, it's about being outside just to connect. Really, it is just a connection of your heart chakra and of your spirit. So open up your senses to the voices that are out there, to the spirit realm, to the ancestors, to the Goddess, and let your imagination run wild. For we are conditioned by our appearance, by the way people think, oh, that's not right, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, why are you doing that, that's weird, let's get rid of all that shit. And actually start experiencing who we are as physical manifestations of Goddess, of beautiful, authentic people. For divinity is within us as well as around us. But if we lower our vibration and tone, then we're lowering the whole tone of the planet. So let's explode onto the earth as vibrant, beautiful people that we are, and just live in modern days. But we've never really had it so easy in life. So let's go out there, let's sing, dance, share our stories, come together as people, as communities, as a circle of sisters and brothers that are wanting to change the world for the better. This really just isn't my path, but this is a path for us all to follow, of goodwill, of good intentions. A mother world, a new paradigm, a shift in consciousness. If we sit still and listen, then Goddess calls out to us, then Spirit calls out to us, and then we can listen and change for the better. So for now, I hope you've really enjoyed this little snippet into how I became a Priest of Avalon, what this path means to me, and how you can find your path. How can you find your path? Simple. Go outside, visit the land, visit people, explore your local pagan community, come and talk to me, come into my workshops, retreats, etc. But just talking to anybody, there are your teachers. Whether they're good teachers or bad teachers, they'll always give you a lesson. Believe me, I've had some bad teachers in life, mostly my exes. But we learn and we listen, for they help us to grow. So just by talking really helps change our energy. So for now, thank you, thank the lady, and blessed be. Till next time.